Skip Bayless here. I want to tell you about my podcast, The Skip Bayless Show. On this show, my show, I go deeper than I ever have, taking you behind the scenes of some of the biggest moments in sports, behind the headlines, even peeling back the curtain on my own personal life. I like to call it the undisputed. Instead of debating my partner Shannon Sharp, I'll tell you stories you've never heard before and let you in on what makes me, me. Make sure you listen to The Skip Bayless Show on your favorite podcast app.
As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy, available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The Purple Mafia, with your host, Paladino Joey.
Well, we'll see. The doctors would disagree, but what do they know?
So let's just say that you'll pay me because it's in your interest to pay me.
Is it worth it? I mean, you've won. Do you want to wipe everybody out?
I don't feel I have to wipe everybody out, Tom. Just my enemies, that's all. My father taught me many things. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
These are wonderful things that we've achieved, and there's no limit to where we can go from here.
Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. It is Sunday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2013. This is episode number 139 of Purple Mafia. I'm your host, Joey Wygen, or Paladino Joey, as Dylan Richardson kindly introduced me at the beginning on there. Purple Mafia is available on thesportstuff.com and on iTunes. I thank each and every one of you always for downloading and listening to this show. And I always thank Dylan Richardson, the executive producer of thesportstuff.com, for making this show possible. Also, ladies and gentlemen, remember, double twist is an option for Android users. Just always like to remind people about that, because not everybody has Apple, but a lot of people do have Android. So, there you go. See? Yeah. All right, well, the guest of this show is the draft, and the draft. That's it. We're going to talk about the draft, and that's it. Draft review. I would have liked to get this up a little bit earlier. I'm a bit annoyed with myself for not getting it up earlier because I maybe could have generated a little bit higher listenership. Kind of like Timberwolves Explosion. Kind of was planning on doing that one tonight, but, well, it's not good when your co-host isn't available for that. So, yeah. To talk about Flip Saunders entering the Minnesota Timberwolves again as the president of basketball operations, which is very exciting. So do be on the lookout for that show. It's coming up, episode 101. We recently celebrated episode 100 there. Not trying to advertise, just, saying where I've been, kind of, wanted to get that show out, wanted to get this show out, and then overtime at work, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, enough of that, right? But that's just saying why I wasn't out sooner. Very exciting draft for the Minnesota Vikings yet again. Will it be as successful as last year? Well, we'll have to find out. If it is, boy, this is going to be a pretty good football team this year. The first round, obviously, by far, the feature presentation of this show and of the 2012 Minnesota, and of the arguably of the 2013, NFL draft on draft night Thursday. That was definitely some primetime TV for the Minnesota Vikings. And, well, we got my guy. We'll talk about him very shortly. If you listen to episode 138, the draft preview, you probably got a pretty good idea who my guy is. Yeah. Minnesota Vikings wound up with 3 draft picks. Very exciting. But first, we are going to get to the Facebook page, all your comments, your responses, and all that stuff. I'm going to try to keep it as organized as possible, if humanly possible. It's not easily done all the time with different timing, and all that stuff, because I want to, I'll just get to the Facebook first, like I normally do, and a couple of brief interactions on Twitter, kind of at the same time. Maybe even throw that in first. No, actually later. I'll do that later because it's more conclusion type stuff versus before the draft. So, Facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. Simply go there and click like. For the Twitter account, it's at Purple Mafia Show. plain and simple. We do have a call-in line, which is 209-736-7877. 209-736-7877. It is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Mention what show you're calling into, which is Purple Mafia, or just say, hi, Joey, I guess, which a lot of people seem to be doing instead. That works. People, I guess you can guess that this show is mine because they're calling in for Joey. Yeah. Okay. Yep, had some private messages with Dave Hickey as well at times, sending in some stuff, talks about the show. Yeah, I mean, he always has good stuff to say. Very cool what Dave Hickey, always just want to give him a shout out. We're going to obviously hear from him a bit on the show today. So we're going to start right away with the thread. I usually get a comment or two about when I type about, episode 138's out, blah, blah, blah. And I usually get a couple of nice responses, so I open the Facebook reading with that. Mark Carlson saying, I'm looking forward to the draft and hope to watch at least some of it. I can never tell how it's going to go, but fun to watch and learn about players. Great job on the preview, Joey Awajan, that being me, of course, and it was fun to listen at work outside in the snow. You would think it was the playoffs, Mark from Iowa, and that's the whole thing. Podcasts are great to listen to while you're working. A lot of people are like, I listen to it when I can, and people like, say, the Timberwolves Explosion show, I seem to get that a lot. Well, you can, if your job allows you to listen to stuff, that's another option. It makes work more fun, especially people that work outside. Maybe they don't need to have hopefully they don't have a boss. They don't have to look over their shoulder every 5 minutes because their boss is breathing down their neck. So, yeah, if you're in a situation where that's not the case, hey, great time to listen to the show. I mean, I do a lawn service, which always kind of delays the production of my podcast at times during April, though this year we haven't even gotten one done yet. So it's going to be May this year where there'll be some delays. That's why I'm getting this show out now, because it's going to be a dry news-wise for probably a month or two. Outside of maybe some draft pick signings, and who knows. This year we don't have a stadium to deal with, thankfully. But yeah, a great option to listen to this show while you're working outside. If you work outside, whatever, maybe you're doing your lawn, hey, you can still listen to it. Why not? Okay. Anyhow, we had a little conversation, me and Mark, about that. Malcolm from California saying, ha, good stuff. I can't relate to the snow part, but I listen while cleaning pools in California. See, there you go. See, listening while he's working. So apparently he cleans pools, and that's cool. There, I rhymed. Yeah. But yeah, that's good. Gotta like that. We'll get to the official draft thread when I actually talk about the draft directly. But then again, that's pretty much where we are. Just about. I'm going to get to the recent posts here first, the separate ones. The uniforms. There you go. It's a good place to start. But actually, Brent Jacobson saying, would you want to take Honey Badger? I mean, what round would you want to take Honey Badger in? Or would you not want the risk? Brent Jacobson asking. I said late second or third. It turns out he was taken very early in the third. And that's about what I was thinking. Honey Badger, of course, a very good cornerback, formerly of LSU, but had some problems, some issues, and was kicked off the team. Did not play last year, but obviously extreme talent. Indeed, a cornerback. He's going to Arizona. We're happy for him, aren't we? Aren't we happy for him? No, not really. Okay, we try to be. We try to be, don't we? Oh, man. It's a pretty good draft. I mean, the top of the draft, not so exciting. There's nothing like, there's no guaranteed, like, franchise-changing, like, super-duper star coming out of the, the first round this year. That being Tyrann Mathieu, by the way, the Honey Badger. His picture on Yahoo looks a little bit, he like a wannabe Rodman when he was on the Spurs, when he had that kind of blonde top. It looks kind of goofy. But, okay, that's me. I'm just a judgmental guy, aren't I? Yep, Tyrann Mathieu out of LSU. Gotta love him. He was taken 7th in the third round, 69th overall. Okay, I'll leave that alone. With that hair, it's just, I don't even want to go there. But yeah, early third round, he's an Arizona Cardinal, a team that seems to always need defense, though I guess their cornerbacks have improved a bit over the last few years, and they should improve again, as long as there aren't attitude issues with that young man. Oh, yep, so there we go. We addressed that. That's where Tyrann Mathieu wound up. Excuse me, sorry about the noise there. The uniforms. Brent Jacobson taking a picture there, or not taking a picture, but posting a picture about the new Vikings 2013 uniforms were leaked. Ultimately, this article from the Daily Norseman, obviously, go check it out if you haven't yet. I like him and I don't like him, I guess. Yep. I didn't even respond to Malcolm McSween, who I asked about what do you think about the new uniforms. I'm sorry I didn't say anything, so I guess I'll say it now. Mark Carlson saying have to see them on the field to make an accurate observation. I like how it's kind of old meets new, you know. They do look old-fashioned, and they almost kind of have that, you know, the way that the lines are, they almost remind me of, like, the 80s Burger King. They almost, you know, like on the Whopper wrappers, you know, back in the day when sandwiches were put in paper or styrofoam cases, containers back then. I mean, yeah, they're put in those containers back then. Yeah, it just, I don't know, it kind of has that look to me. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but do I like them more than the ones the last since 06 to 12? Yeah, a little bit. Malcolm, I like them a little bit more. It's nothing to be like, wow, but I mean, then again, I don't know. I mean, nobody's going to bring out anything that's going to be wow anyway these days. I mean, there's no such thing anymore, it seems like. Yeah, I actually do like him because it kind of, it has that old school look, but it's not like, it's not just, okay, let's always go with the retro, but then again, I love retro. So, yeah, I mean, I like him a lot. Yeah, they look more retro than the current ones did. So, good. The helmets kind of have a slightly different look as well. Nothing to, you know, get too excited about, but certainly not bad either. Yeah, I mean, they're good. Sure, I like them. Dave Hickey saying, I just watched some YouTube videos of our new linebacker from Penn State. Man, do they look good. I think our defense is going to look good this year as long as Chris Cook steps it up and stops getting burned. Yeah, that's for sure. I remember defense wins championships just like Cook. Ponder needs to be the one who steps it up on offense. I'm really going to be explosive. Rudolph, that being Guile, of course. Greg Jennings, Jarius Wright, and now my guy. I won't say the name yet, but yeah, you probably already know. And of course, the MVP. All I'm saying is there are a lot of weapons now. Ponder. There are a lot of weapons now. Ponder. There will not be any excuses after this year. I can't wait. Skull Vikings. Yeah, I'm going to give the gold star to Dave Hickey. Dave Hickey has been very active, always very kind and very, very well, well thought out posts and stuff. Really, really good stuff, really strong stuff. Really like what he said the past few weeks here, from last show into this. So he gets the gold star for episode number 139. Man. I mean, that's good stuff. Chris Cook, very key going into 2013, of course. Is he a nickelback? Is he a starter? I don't know what he is. Doggone it. Well, probably a nickelback at this point. Or is he? It gets interesting, doesn't it? Because you got Cook, you got Josh Robinson, and you got the new guy, Xavier Rhodes, coming in. I wasn't supposed to say it yet, but yeah, Xavier Rhodes coming in. Chris Cook is a good hitter, but yeah, he gets burned. Right now, I see Chris Cook as the nickelback, and you go with Rhodes and Robinson as the two starters. Ooh. Interesting stuff, huh? Well, maybe. Jennings, of course, very exciting. I like Jarius Wright a lot, but, I don't think he's going to get he's not going to get a million catches, but he will be quirky. He will be used, I got to think. And my guy, hopefully, will be, will be a very useful weapon on offense and not just special teams. I'm sure ultimately you're not going to take him in the first round if he isn't, but, let's just hope. Yeah, I don't think he's the next Troy Williamson, but don't quote me on that because you never know. The last time I thought a guy wasn't going to be a bust, this on Timberwolves explosion, he ended up being an even bigger bust than anybody. I just kept getting burned over and over and over and over with the drafts of the Wolves. Tell you, Johnny Flynn, yeah, oh, he's not Randy Foy. No, he was worse than Randy Foy. But, yeah, anyhow, look at me talking about that show. Oh, man. Wow. So much stuff. So let's get to the Purple Mafia draft thread. Yeah, we might as well. Yeah, of course we are going to get there. Mark Carlson saying, watching the draft tonight from my shop. Missed some of the hype that my 4 boys would share. 3 graduated and 1 to go. Yeah, shout out to Anthony, by the way. Anthony Carlson. Yeah, miss you, buddy. Hope to hear you call in again at some point. I remember he was on Twitter at times, tweeting. So just got to give him a shout out. I'm sure he's busy, though, of course. I can understand he's in the military, for crying out loud. So, but just giving him a shout out just in case he's listening and he's able to, hopefully. Yeah. And respect. Yep, there you go. He says, so I'm working on a project, got the TV on, and hanging out right here on Purple Mafia. Nice to have some football to talk about. Mark from Iowa. Oh, yeah. Silver Star. There you go. Oh, look at me passing these out real early, but sometimes it's just very, very necessary. Maybe there'll be a second Silver Star. Chris Tucker. Hey, how have you been? Chris Tucker from Canada, Vancouver, that is, British Columbia, saying, hey, guys, what a draft so far. Hoping the Vikes grab my guy at 23 and either Te'o, so he's not my guy, or Ogletree at 25. Well, yeah. Well, none of those guys were picked at those particular picks. But we'll continue. Mark Carlson saying, sure like the 49ers pick, Eric Reed. Yes, that was a very good one. He adds in, wow. Dave Hickey says, I'm with you, Chris. I think you do reverse order, though. T first, then my guy. Because I don't think the Colts really need a receiver. But the way these trades are going, you never know. Dave continuing, saying, what do you guys think? Or, excuse me, what do you think, guys? Excuse me. Who are we going to get the excitement? Who are we going to get the excitement builds? Are you a Hawk fan, Mark? Because I'm from Iowa, too. That being... yes, sir. The Hawkeyes, I believe. Yes, yeah. He means the Hawkeyes. Well, the Vikings got a Hawkeyes quarterback, undrafted free agent. There you go. Though I've heard mean stuff about him from Hawkeye fans. Mark saying, you bet, Dave. Hey, some great players out of Iowa. Well, yeah, we got your quarterback. Dave continuing, saying, here we go, guys. We have all options open. Hal, my guy, Ogletree. Mark, I think Micah Hyde is about the only Iowa player who will get drafted in the first 5 rounds. The 2 Iowa State linebackers could go 3rd or 4th. Mark again jumping back, saying, great to see our military on stage prior to announcing the Vikings selection. Wahoo, USA. So, yes, sir. Yeah, there was a lot of that going on draft night. See, the military stuff I respect a lot, yes. Some stuff, I gotta say, really made the draft take too long. It's like, okay, hey, former Packer, hey, former Lion, hey, former Chief. You know, it's good taste, but when it drug into the 2nd and 3rd rounds, it got ridiculous. Oh, my goodness. Whew, it got a bit ridiculous at times. You know, he has the right idea, Goodell, but sometimes it's like, just make the pick, please. Just please make the pick. But no, I'm not going to say anything against them having the military up there, even though I was like, oh, just make the dang pick, especially when it was us. That's the one thing. Oh, man. I mean, the anticipation is like, oh, make the dang pick. But, yeah, no. All respect to the military. I'm not going to complain about that part. No, that wouldn't be appropriate, would it? No. But some of it where it's just, yeah, oh, this former guy, again, like I'm going to say, it's in good taste, but doggone it, make the pick. We want to get on with the night here. Come on. Come on. Eric Romesmo says, I can live with that pick. Yes, that guy. Yeah, that guy too. Very good. And yes, that player, so we'll say it right now, amazingly slipped to number 23 for the Minnesota Vikings. And that guy, ladies and gentlemen, was a guy who could have easily gone to Miami. In fact, a lot of people a bit like, wait, why did Miami take this other guy? who could drop to God knows where. But then again, this is one of those drafts where you just don't know. They took Deion Jordan, a 6'7" outside linebacker, who's one of those guys, he could be a explosion or a bust. You just don't know. You don't know with Deion Jordan. But the Dolphins had an opinion on a guy. I bet a lot of people thought it's going to be the man that slipped to 23 from Minnesota out of Florida. That being, Sharif bleepin' Floyd.
Oh my God!
That's right. The Vikings got Sharif Floyd with the 23rd pick. I mean, wow. I mean, I was a bit. You know what's crazy? You know how sometimes, you're watching the draft, right? And this guy's getting picked, this guy's getting picked, this guy's getting picked, and sometimes you just kind of feign interest because you're waiting for your team to pick, and it just obviously it drags on forever because here comes this guy for the Packers, and he's just gonna keep talking for 5 hours, and they're not making the pick, and I'm sick and tired of waiting, and you just kind of feign interest. And it's like, wait, what? We took Sharif Floyd? I thought I was kind of partially like, I hope we take my guy here. Excuse me. Hope we take him. And it's like, wait, Sharif Floyd? Oh, okay, yeah, I can live with that. I mean, defensive tackle is a need. It's one of like our 99 needs, like every year with every team. Pretty much, every team has needs. Every team, even the Niners do, and the Ravens. But Sharif Floyd? Okay, I can definitely live with that. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Unbelievable. The Vikings wind up with Sharif Floyd with the 23rd pick. Again, like I'm saying, I couldn't believe he slipped. But yes, he's a defensive tackle. He's got some explosiveness to him, which I like. But at the same time, I mean, not the biggest sack producer in the league, but the ability's definitely there with Mr. Sharif Floyd. We'll get to that right now. Okay, no. Well, I'll talk about it more later. Well, actually, no. It's like I don't know what to do right now because you got to have a break, but at the same time, you got the Facebook. You got to get the Facebook done first. So I'm going to jump deeper into the draft, the actual draft picks themselves, after I get through the Facebook. I think it's just better that way, so I'm not going crazy here. It's very easy to do. But Dave Hickey's saying I didn't see Floyd coming, although we needed D-line, and he was projected top 5. That's right, top 5. So that's a heck of a value. Or Rhodes, who was projected higher. I guess you never know with Spielman. Yeah, and Rhodes wound up being the next guy. Yeah, the next guy. It's funny how he meant Rhodes. It is pretty funny how he mentioned Rhodes, but wound up being the pick at 25. That being Xavier Rhodes out of Florida State this time, a Seminole. So a arch rival member in college for Floyd. Xavier Rhodes. We'll get deeper into him after the break. Yeah, because I have to take a break because we have those new ads now on the show. Hoping that can generate some type of revenue. We need something one of these years, right? Chris Tucker's saying Floyd is an absolute steal, best defensive tackle in draft, but because his arms are tiny, yeah, that's right, short arms, a bit shorter, he gets knocked. Floyd 2 years ago was thought of as top 10 talent. Chris again saying still young, but all I know is you can't coach his elite speed and size combo for a defensive back. Defensive back, or you mean defense? Oh yeah, you meant you meant Rhodes there. Yes, yep, you meant Rhodes. He's got the he does. He's the one with the. Yep, he's a bit raw, but he's got a lot of potential. Shucks, even when you hear him talk, it's like, how old is this guy? I went out of the press conference, at Vikings.com, and I also posted it on here. He sounds like he's like 16, 15. It's crazy. Mark Carlson saying, I was hoping we would strengthen our D, and yeah, apparently we did. Chris Tucker saying, my guy is an absolute freak. Yes, I'm still not saying his name yet. Oh, I'll say his name. Yeah, okay, I'll say his... No, I want to save it because I like talking. I like doing the build-up for the story, and obviously everybody listening knows who it is. Yeah, everybody knows who it is, obviously. But Cedric Paulding saying, I'm loving all 3 of these picks. Dan Taylor saying, wow, that is not what I expected to see, but what an awesome first round. Brent Jacobson saying, you know who's probably loving the fact that we gave up so many picks. Urlacher or Dansby's agent, because, those are those 2 linebackers, and the Vikings did not take a linebacker until the 4th round. And funny, we did not have a pick until the 4th round because, we'll get to that in just a moment here. Dave Hickey saying, I hope my guy is worth it because we just gave up the farm to get him. It reminds me of giving up 7 players to Dallas. Don't say this. I'm going to take away that gold star there, buddy. Come on now. It reminds me of giving up 7 players to get Herschel Walker. That's somebody else's guy right there. That's Aikman's guy. That turned the Cowboys into a 3-time Super Bowl champion and burned us for years. I sure hope that defense wins championships. I was saying, my guy better not be that bad, and we didn't give up first-round picks at least. But, yeah, I agree that it was expensive. Because it was expensive, but, well, we gave up like 3 first-round picks to Dallas as well, though, so you have to throw that in there. I mean, we did not give up 3 first-round picks. In fact, we didn't give up any. So that's the good part. Malcolm saying every one of these 3 players was predicted to go sooner. That means the Vikes just got 3 steals in the first round. What? I heart Spielman. Yes, sir. I agree with you, Malcolm. So, just about to wrap up the face deck, then I can get more into my individual podcasting here, or show hosting, whatever you like to call it. Dave Hickey saying it wasn't what I was expecting, but man, I am happy to get 3 first-rounders that were all projected to go a lot higher picks, Amazing. Now, to go get some linebackers, there are 2 Iowa State linebackers, Jake Nunn and AJ Klein. Alkaline, I got baseball in the mind here. That's a really old name. He says that are going to be great pros. I hope we get a chance at one of them tomorrow. Skull Vikings. Vince Germano saying, how about those Browns? And I say, I can't believe the Browns didn't take Barkley. I don't know why I said that, but yeah, I mean during the first round, because they had multiple chances to get him, but oh well. I said honestly, what do they have to lose? The guy they have was an old rookie who can't play. That being the quarterback. And Vince Germano saying Mingo no good, and I say yeah, we'll see. And Vince Germano, by the way, is an Australian Laker fan. Yes, sir. But yeah, he has joined Purple Mafia as well. Hopefully he's listening. He is a big Timberwolves explosion fan and contributor. Really appreciate Vince Germano, by the way, from the Courtside Podcast. Listen to me mentioning the Courtside Podcast here on Purple Mafia Show. You want to listen to some really nice Australian NBA podcast? There it is, the Courtside Podcast. Uh-oh. Free plug, right? Yeah, everything's free, isn't it? Everything is. That does conclude the Facebook page, and he meant Mingo, of course, Barkevius Mingo, 6th overall pick by the Cleveland Browns. He was a top end defensive end from LSU. Defensive end, by the way, yes, not defensive tackle, so can't compare him with Sharif Floyd. You just can't do it. Nope. 6th overall pick to the Browns, and, might end up being a stud. He better be, for the 6th pick, he better be pretty good. Though, it's just, well, yeah. Yeah. So basically right here, he's a guy that gets sacks. Absolutely. Draft analysis out of Mike Mayock saying it's a pass-first league. And every team in the league is looking for a guy that can go hunt. He is an explosive presence off the edge. Well, yeah, Mingo good, Vince. Mingo good. Yes, there you go. Mingo is very good. Mm-hmm. So, just for the record, Eric Fisher, he was the top player taken. He's an offensive tackle. Luke Joeckel, a lot of people had him going number 1, went to the Jaguars number 2. He's another top-end tackle. Those are like left tackle type guys. Lane Johnson, another tackle. The whole first round, just about the whole first round was about the line. The offensive line and defensive line. Offensive line, defensive line, offensive line, defensive line, offensive guard, offensive tackle, defensive end, defensive tackle. That's pretty much what it was over and over and over. St. Louis Rams with Tavon Austin. I don't know about that. All right, I better shut up and get more into my overall opinions of the draft after this break. We're going to head to break right now. And then rock and roll, baby.
Vikings, let's win this game. Skull Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run up the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Skull Vikings, let's go. Skull Vikings, let's win this game. Skull Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run up the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Skull Vikings, let's go.
Games, games, games. Everyone likes games, but what we don't like is paying full price for them. Get new games for the PC like Tomb Raider, $20 off. Borderlands 2, $20 off. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, $20 off. All downloads, no discs, no shipping costs. If you're not a PC gamer, that's alright, we got you covered too. 50% off all pre-owned console games. And if you don't have a console, I've got a smoking deal for you. Get $50 off the limited edition 500 gigabyte God of War Ascension Legacy bundle. This thing comes with all the God of War games, and the console is garnet red. Check out the links in the show description on thesportstuff.com.
And we are back here on Purple Mafia, episode number 139, which is a reminder for all you iPod users, you Android users, and other MP3 players. Remember, iTunes and Double Twist are the best ways to listen to the show. But also on Windows phones, all you have to do is search in the search bar for Purple Mafia, and there you go. Very simple. So all of those smartphone devices, I'm sure you could even find it on BlackBerry if you do the same. So there you go, because BlackBerry's getting a nice phone too now coming out. Those are starting to look like Android, so rock and roll, you know, more power to them. Any way to make money, right? For those guys, for any of the phones out there. Excuse me. Yeah, so speaking of hopefully making money, yeah, the ad you heard, there's little tiny links. When you go to thesportstuff.com, under the show description, you'll see the little links, and that's where you'll see the deals you can get for from GameStop. So just so you know how to get it, you have to click on the link to get the deal. So there you go. Just reminder for you out there. Well, the draft as is now. All your comments are in, and my responses to them are in, and all that good stuff. Just one real quick thing on Twitter again, real quick. Dan Taylor saying seems like a really good first round to me. Any thoughts? And it's like, man, it was an awesome first round. It really was. Dave Martin saying looking forward to post-draft show other than pick 5 work by other than pick 5 solid work by GM. Now we shall see if Ponder can close the deal in 2013, and I doggone hope so, Dave Martin. There you go, doggone it. I really hope so. Yeah, I'm extremely excited as well, Dan and Dave. Very cool. Pick 5, of course. We'll get to that in a moment here very, very soon. Yeah, pick 5. Who? Okay. First, let's get to the Vikings picks again, very briefly. Well, yeah, very briefly, my butt, right? Steve Floyd, the Vikings really, really getting good value. Defensive tackle out of Florida, 23rd pick, quick, athletic, able to constantly get gap kind of penetration and disrupt plays in the backfield. I mean, that's what it's all about. That way you can get tackles for loss on those running backs. You know, not only sack the quarterback, but tackles for loss. That's really what defensive tackles are there for, even more than getting sacks. Defensive ends are more for the sacks and all that good stuff. Highly competitive, making plays, chasing balls. Yeah, I mean, the guy ultimately, yeah, I mean, he's a long-term guy. He's a long-term replacement for Kevin Williams. Absolutely, as they're saying. It's there's just no doubt about it, though. He is a long-term replacement for Kevin Williams. Unfortunately, he'll have to play behind him at first because the other tackle position is not as suited for him as Kevin Williams' spot. So it looks like somebody like LaTroy Guyan or Fred Evans, more the overall run stopper types, will be maintaining the other spot. LaTroy Guyan, a guy I often call my guy. I really like him a lot. But it seemed like in a starter's role he wasn't all that great. We'll see. We're just going to have to see what happens here. But it sounds like Sharif Floyd will not start right away, ultimately. But I got to think he's going to get a ton of playing time. We'll see. Maybe he will start right away. Maybe they will put him right next to Kevin Williams, despite maybe the fact that Sharif Floyd belongs more in Kevin Williams' spot, like his exact role and all that good stuff. We're just going to have to wait and see how that turns out. When I saw that my guy was not taken, nor was Manny Te'o by the Indianapolis Colts, I was like, well, here it is. This is going to be my guy right here. Here he comes. Yep. Here he comes, my wide receiver. Yeah, blah, we already know who it is. But no, the Vikings take Xavier Rhodes, cornerback, 6'2", out of Florida State. 6'2" cornerback, another big guy. The one question is, well, Chris Cook's a big guy, and he's not that great yet, and what the hell, woohoo. But, well, hopefully this guy is going to be better. I got to think so. He's ranked pretty high. Again, the one talker of this whole draft is that this might be the wrong draft to try to get a bajillion picks, because it's what they call a meat and potatoes draft, not a star-heavy draft. But we'll see. Xavier Rhodes, a lot of people really like him. He's very big, imposing, excellent pass coverage skills, who fills the hole left by departure Antoine Winfield. So, well, there you go. He's probably going to start right away. He probably is going to start right away, I got to think. I mean, Floyd's going to play a lot anyway, even if he starts or not. He's going to get plenty of playing time. We're going to see Sharif Floyd on the field frequently on Sundays right away. Bjorn Warner, looked on as one of the top defensive ends, was still taken by the Indianapolis Colts, a double-digit sack type of player in a 3-4 scheme. We'll see what happens with those guys. So, yeah, whatever. So, I mean, the Vikings' defensive end to me was not one of the top needs going into the draft. For me, it was cornerback, and now with Winfield gone, wide receiver, linebacker, and defensive tackle. Linebacker, in a lot of people's eyes, looked on as the number one thing. The Packers did not take a wide receiver. A lot of people thought, oh, here goes DeAndre Hopkins, and here goes my guy. Or DeAndre Hopkins, in a lot of people's eyes, was my guy as well. But I really liked DeAndre Hopkins, but there was one guy I liked a little more, a wide receiver. Yeah, we already know who it is, but we'll just get to it. Detone Jones, defensive end, heading to the Green Bay Packers. DeAndre Hopkins going to the Houston Texans, and that's where it's just like, well, we're not going to get a wide receiver. There goes DeAndre Hopkins. I really like him a lot. I mean, I really like him. I would have been thrilled to take him. But then it's like, wait, there's one other guy wasn't taken yet. Austin was taken, but 8th. And there were rumors of, if we trade up for a wide receiver, it'd be that guy. It'd be definitely Austin. But then it's like, why would you trade up for him? And even Corey Chavis is like, what the hell? Why would you trade up for him? Corey Chavis, who's on Paul Allen frequently, draft nasty. He's like a draft expert type of guy. Oh, and here's another guy, defensive tackle Sylvester Williams, winds up on Denver. So it's like there's a couple guys that I was talking about extensively on episode 139, or 138. This is 139. Pardon me. DeAndre Hopkins and Sylvester Williams, I thought that just might be 23 and 25, maybe in reverse. Sylvester going 23, DeAndre 25, coming to Minnesota, because I figured my guy was going to go significantly earlier. Possibly to the Steelers, possibly to, who knows, maybe to the Colts, because we take Sylvester Williams first. Maybe he goes to the Colts, and yeah. Well, and maybe we wind up with DeAndre. Well, there you go. DeAndre Hopkins catching touchdowns in the back corner of the end zone. Absolutely love the guy. Absolutely love him. And I just kind of got sad and depressed, but then it's like, oh, there's still a chance. I was going to turn off the draft because I was watching it on my phone at the time. Because it's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Step out for a bit, watch it on the phone, step outside, because I was just driving around a little bit, getting a sandwich. Yes, I've wanted to get a sandwich, And it's like, there's, I just had this strange, eerie feeling. Something inside of me was like, why do I have this odd feeling the Vikings are going to trade up? Why do I have this strange feeling they're going to trade up? They're probably not going to, though, and I'm just going to see all these guys that I like. DeAndre Hopkins, Sylvester Williams, my guy, Manny Te'o, all these guys, that I was talked about constantly on episode 28, or 2138, excuse me. I never really talked about Xavier Rhodes because I didn't really get into the cornerback thing, unfortunately, which is my stupidity. I apologize to listeners out there for that. Didn't even get into Xavier Rhodes much. I think I mentioned him briefly, but not much. I didn't even talk about Sharif Floyd. I didn't even talk about him because it's just, well, why talk about a guy that's going to go 10th overall or 3rd overall or 5th overall? Why even talk about him? It's going to be Sylvester. Okay, sorry. Mad World there. I don't think many people know about that movie. The Mother-in-Law. But Sylvester Williams coming to Minnesota. Hopkins. Maybe the guy that went to Atlanta right before. Atlanta, by the way, traded up. Desmond Trufant. And it's like, oh, that could have been our guy. Doggone it. Desmond Trufant. He's got that NFL pedigree and all that good stuff. Atlanta traded right ahead of the Vikings. It's like, oh, we probably were going to take him. Didn't even think about Floyd. Because I wasn't paying... I don't know. It's like I pay attention, but I wasn't even thinking about Sharif Floyd. I just wasn't even thinking about him. And I probably should have been. But obviously, if I was drafting with the Vikings, I obviously would know that. But, yeah. I wasn't even thinking about him. It's my own fault, and I'm stupid. But obviously, I knew my wide receivers were available. I knew Te'o was available and all that good stuff. And I knew Matt Barkley was available. Guys like that. Blah, blah, blah. Matt Barkley. A lot of people thinking, ooh, watch the Vikings take Matt Barkley. Or Geno Smith. A guy like that. Watch the Vikings take Geno Smith 25th overall. Light a fire under Christian Ponder. Yeah, that guy, right? But it's like Desmond Trufant. Oh, that was another major possibility. Atlanta must have had steam that the Vikings were going to take Trufant. Well, if we did or didn't, whatever. Sharif Floyd was just sitting there. So either way, we're going to get a really nice pick. And then 25, I was like, Xavier Rhodes, he's good. Well, I guess so. That was an absolute need, and we took him. But, it's like he's not a reach, but, what about these other guys, though? Shoot. But like I said, I had this feeling the Vikings, I just had this eerie, strange feeling way in the back left corner of my brain. Because the left side is the smart side. And it's, of anybody's brain, by the way. And it's just like, why do I have this strange feeling? And the next thing you know, Paul Allen and Paul Charchian, Paul and Paul. I was watching it on the phone, but listening to it on the radio because I couldn't hear the phone very well, and I'd rather hear the local angle instead. Want to hear what they're saying about the picks, and just in case something's going on. They're like, oh, we're hearing talks that the Vikings might possibly be trading up to the 29th pick with the New England Patriots. And then it just kind of kept coming, and then, it's possibility they kept talking about it, and then it's like, yes, the Vikings, we're now hearing the trade has happened, and oh shoot, look what they gave up. Whoa, jeez. 2nd round pick, 3rd round pick, 4th round pick, 7th round pick, all this year, but still, it's good that we didn't give up future picks, but still, holy cow, jeez, what are we taking? And then they're like, oh yeah, all national people are saying it's Manny Te'o. They're trading up to get Manny Te'o. And then it's like, oh gosh. And then Paul Charchian said, oh, it had better be. It had better be Cordero Patterson. That's right. It had better be Cordero Patterson out of Tennessee. Yeah, that guy. It had better be him. Not Manny Te'o. We don't need this. He's a need, but Cordero Patterson is more worth this type of move because he's an elite receiver, potentially. He's raw, very raw, but a potentially very elite wide receiver. And it's just, it's got to be Cordero. It's got to be Cordero. It can't be Manny Te'o. Paul Charchian kept saying. And I'm like, you know what? Doggone it. It had better be Cordero Patterson. It has to be. That's who I wanted all along, guys. That's who I wanted. And am I going to be an idiot? Am I going to be David Kahn-like with Johnny Flynn? Yeah, because I liked Johnny Flynn back in 2009 also. No, I don't think this is going to... Okay, I'm not even going to say it this time. Don't even say it. That's a curse. Knock on wood. But then, there it was. The 29th pick. It's the Vikings pick, but they're still going to do the Boston Strong thing. And it's like, well, I deeply respect that. Oh, I deeply respect that. But boy, my selfish side is like, oh, I just want to know who it is. I just want to know who it is. And then, obviously, deep respect, all of you. Boston Strong. Condolences to the people that didn't make it. Best wishes to those of you that did, but were severely injured and even dismembered. Best wishes to all of you. And by the way, the New England Patriots are my second favorite football team. That's right. If you haven't ever noticed over the years, you probably could guess that. Third, the 49ers. Yep. Well, it almost was the Super Bowl last year, but Ravens definitely took it to the Patriots, which they've been known to do in the past at times. At times, not a year and a half ago, but about a couple months ago. Yes. And so it is Bill Belichick, and he's not going to get ripped off by anybody ever. In fact, he usually does the ripping off, and he got a lot of draft picks, and that's what the Patriots do very, very well. But then finally, after a lot of conversation about Boston Strong, and oh, God bless Boston and everybody, and again, deep respect and all that. But again, my selfish side was like, oh, I just want to know who it is. Come on. Because it took a while. And that's the way it goes, And then there it was. The Vikings take Cordero Patterson. Yeah, buddy.
Holy crap, Batman!
Excuse me. The Vikings took Cordero Patterson. As you already know. But, excuse me. But it's just, I want to reflect to you the excitement I have. And share your excitement, because a lot of people have excitement about this pick. We traded up to get Cordero Patterson. We actually traded up to get Cordero Patterson. And remember the days of Dennis Green and all those guys. It's like we never trade up, ever. Maybe once in a while we trade down, but we never go after anybody. Well, Rick Spielman apparently is different. He knows what he wants. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Huh? And yeah, it there it is. I mean, kick-ass first round, guys. You talk about gold stars. That's a gold star. I mean, you filled three needs, big time. You got a steal in Sharif Floyd. Xavier Rhodes, all over the draft board, higher in most, lower in some. Cordell Patterson, higher in pretty much all of them. And there he is. No real talks of like, oh, they slipped for a reason. I mean, Adrian Peterson slipped to the Vikings, too. Just imagine, Peterson and Patterson. Yeah, buddy. Hopefully it's another good one. Peterson slipped to the Vikings because of the shoulder issues. People were afraid of his shoulder condition coming out of Oklahoma. And, well, it's been a nice ride. It really has. With Cordero, the belief is he's a bit raw. And it's going to take time to teach him the ropes. But boy, he seems like a cool guy, doesn't he? At that press conference, Sharif Floyd comes off as pretty quiet, but good, very intense, just like Kevin Williams. Well, there you go. Kevin Williams is pretty quiet, but he's fairly intense when he plays, obviously. I think Floyd actually is more intense than Kevin Williams, personality-wise. I mean, Kevin Williams is really, really, reserved. Xavier Rhodes comes off as, he just seems like he could be your, if you were the same age as him, he could be your friend. He'd be a cool, like if you were an athletic type like I was, who loved sports and liked to kind of, interact on the field and stuff like that. And yeah, he just seemed like he'd be kind of a cool guy, to be on the same team with. He'd be a lot of fun, and personality-wise. But Cordero, man, that guy just seems cool. He really does. And you watch him play. He's got the ability to shake, but he's also got the ability to catch a deep ball. He can do both. And, of course, he can return as well. He can be a kick returner as well, which, of course, is a huge void left by the great Percy Harvin. One of the best kick returners in Viking history. Easily one of the best kick returners in the NFL. Easily. Cordero Patterson can become that guy in the kick returners, but he also can stretch the field a bit more than Percy Harvin did. Because mostly when it came to wide receiver, Percy Harvin, unbelievable athlete, could shake, can bake, can beat through, can get through anybody. He can even be a running back at times. And Cordero Patterson actually can do that as well. But he's 6'3", not 5'10", 5'9", whatever Percy Harvin was. Percy Harvin was very small, too short to me to be a deep pass type of guy. Up the middle deep, okay, sure. And he could pull that off once in a while, but wide deep, never. Where Cordero Patterson, to me, can do all the above. Is he as good as Percy at any of those areas? Not yet, but can he be? Maybe. I hope so. I really hope so. Deep wise, obviously he is better. Yes, and I'm very excited. Because he's got the open field running ability. He can break tackles. He can get around people, and you can even hand the ball off to him on occasion. Obviously, I'm a bit worried about it when they're a little bit taller. But the guy has the potential to be a stud in this league. And I forget if it was Paul who mentioned it. Oh, was it Paul Charchian? I believe it was. Who saw a little bit of time with him. It's like if this kid figures it out, he could have Hall of Fame talent. Or it was either Paul or Paul. Paul Charchian just on Friday here. If he figures it out. And it's like, don't quote me on this, but he could have Hall of Fame talent. And he could actually be that good. He shows signs of it. He could be unbelievable. And neither one of them disagreed with each other. Whichever one made that statement, I can't remember which one. But so very exciting coming in to rookie camp. Cordero Patterson, obviously the main attraction of that group, for that very reason. Offense is more exciting. Defense wins championships, yes, but great offense can definitely help. It sure can. It sure helped the 80s 49ers, didn't it? So, and other teams like that. It helped the Patriots when they needed it, yes, and other teams along the way as well. But yeah, we took 2 defensive players, so certainly a focus on defense. All right, on to the 4th round we go. Now that I've talked about Cordero Patterson for the last 5 hours, if you're still listening out there, which I hope you are, because I really enjoy talking about Cordero Patterson. I mean, I just really do. I'm very excited, and I really hope that it works out. So, with the 23rd pick in the 4th round, 120th overall, the Minnesota Vikings select Gerald Hodges, offensive, what am I talking about? Outside linebacker. I'm like looking at offensive guard or something here. Outside linebacker out of Penn State. And that's the guy that Dave Hickey was talking about. Very excited about him. Unfortunately, no Iowa linebackers were taken. But we did sign their quarterback to an off-season deal. Woohoo! Or excuse me, what am I talking about? To an undrafted deal. So there you go. We'll see where that goes. With the 5th pick, with the 5th round, 22nd pick, Minnesota Vikings select Jeff Locke, punter. That's right, punter, out of UCLA.
What?
So if the Vikings took a place kicker last year in the 6th round, and he worked out greatly, and they almost immediately cut Ryan Longwell, who is much more established than Chris Kluwe. Chris Kluwe's a good punter, but I'm telling you, Ryan Longwell is a better place kicker than Chris Kluwe's a punter, regardless if you like what Chris Kluwe has to say when he's running his mouth constantly all over the place. No comment. No further comment anyway. I already commented. If you're willing to cut a very, very good kicker in Ryan Longwell, almost Hall of Fame level kicker in Ryan Longwell, almost immediately for a 6th round pick, who ended up being a phenomenal place kicker in Blair Walsh. You think the Vikings are going to keep Chris Kluwe after using a 5th round pick on a punter? Very unlikely. That being Jeff Locke, punter out of UCLA. They like him, and they like him a lot. And the odds of Chris Kluwe staying are very low. It's not just about Chris Kluwe running his mouth, obviously, and that's not really the reason why the Vikings would be looking to cut him. It's because he's a bit pig-headed at times as a punter, and he makes mistakes more often than you'd like, honestly. So I do believe that's the thinking here. It's not because he's getting old. People have been frustrated with Chris Cluey for a long time. I remember they were a little pissed off at him several years ago, back in 2008, in the whole Reggie Bush situation, when he kept kicking to Reggie Bush, and Reggie Bush kept running him into the end zone. Dare I talk about that, the dirty, cheating New Orleans Saints, but 2008, they were running those balls back in the end zone, and Chris Cluey kept punting to the same guy over and over and over again. Rock and roll, baby. You've been running us into the ground. Here's the ball. So it's the mental mistakes of Chris Cluey, and occasional the physical mistakes as well. It's just Jeff Locke, I got to think, is the punter of the future for the Vikings. We'll see. The last time the Vikings took a punter in the draft, his name was Eddie Johnson, and he was out of here within a year. So, who knows? On to pick number 6. Now, Jeff Locke was the 155th pick overall for the Minnesota Vikings, or in the NFL draft. The 6th round pick, 28th overall, Jeff Baca, 196th overall pick, a guard out of UCLA. A 6'3 guard out of UCLA, acquired from the Broncos through the Eagles and Buccaneers. So this draft pick has been brought through about 1 billion times. So here we go. We bring in a guard. We hope for the best there. I gotta think it can't be bad. It can't be. I'm reasonably happy with it. Always hoping for the best there. I hope you take a good player. Vikings seem to do very well taking offensive linemen in the 6th round. You had Matt Burke. You had John Sullivan. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep them coming, baby, right? Can't really complain about that at this point. By the way, real quick on Gerald Hodges, being he's the 4th round pick and a potential starting linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. Got to talk a bit about him a little more here. Would be a good idea. Mike Mayock saying he's an upstanding citizen. I think he's a starting will linebacker all day long. He gives the Vikings versatility. He could be he could be a starter. And it's kind of funny, with a 4th round pick, we just might wind up with a starter. NFL comparison, Quincy Black. So, well, there you go. Strengths are he was a former safety, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. I mean, I got to think he's pretty quick feet. Yep, as they say, too, as well, with short area quickness to handle coverage responsibilities on multiple levels. Stays with running backs and tight ends in man coverage, and that's good. You got to think, again, if he's a former safety, he could be able to stay with fast players there, or faster players, I would hope. Comes off one target in zone to lay hit on the underneath route, flashes downhill speed to wrap up ball carriers or force them into decisions, active hands when engaged, willing to be physical, works through traffic to ball in tight quarters, stays with receivers on short cuts, can knock away the pass without interfering. That's key. His weaknesses, though, unfortunately, are he has only average bulk and length to take on NFL-sized linemen. I got to think, too, he wouldn't be that big, obviously, if he's a former safety. To average-sized linemen and tight ends, that is, does not consistently take advantage of interception opportunities. So, yeah, that's a bummer, but there you go. He lunges and fails to break down in the open field at times. So more elusive ball carriers can avoid him, can be fooled on misdirection plays, needs to prove himself a capable blitzer, doesn't beat blocks consistently to force quarterbacks into making throws, will get locked into blocks, doesn't play with proper leverage. So, well, yeah, it's a lot of good and bad, I guess you can say. Quick, but small a little bit at times, and yeah, he doesn't take advantage of interceptions and all that. Probably can't catch. Not many defensive players are really great at catching the ball, but what do you expect, right? It's just one of those deals. The good news is you don't really hear anything about character issues with the guy. So sometimes, like you heard with Everson Griffin at times, he slipped to the 4th round because of character issues. So, yeah, that's the way it is. This guy, a pretty safe pick for the Minnesota Vikings, I got to think. can't expect a stud here. Aaron Henderson was undrafted, remember, and now he's potentially going to be the starting middle linebacker unless something changes in free agency. Though, of course, if something did change in free agency, it probably wouldn't be long term. So there you go. 3 7th-round picks for the Minnesota Vikings. 3 7th-round picks for the Minnesota Vikings. They did get a 7th-round pick back from the Patriots. So we traded one and got one back, kind of type of deal, probably a little bit lower, which is kind of funny. Michael Motti, an outside linebacker from Penn State. So 2 linebackers out of Penn State. That's right, 2 linebackers out of Penn State. Well, there you go. We take another guard, this time Travis Bond out of North Carolina, with the 8th pick in the 7th round, 213th and 14th overall, 7th with Muggy and 8th pick. Travis Bond, guard, North Carolina, a very large individual. Maybe he's the next Chris Jaguar, right? Right? Remember Jaguar? The Vikings eventually let him go. Very big individual, a very large guard, tall and big. Didn't make the Vikings, unfortunately, long term. We'll see if Travis Bond does. Everett Dawkins, 229th overall, 23rd in the 7th round out of Florida State. So another Seminole coming to Minnesota. Everett Dawkins. Again, we will wait and see how this turns out. This was a horror of a pick. It eventually came to the Vikings from the Buccaneers and Patriots. So there you go. Just like that 6th-round pick that wound up being Jeff Baca from the Broncos through Eagles and Bucks. So another horror pick, we can call it. Okay, that's really bad to say, but the player isn't the horror, it's the pick itself. There you go. So to make it a little bit more, yeah. One other side note, the Ravens have agreed to terms with Bryant McKinney recently to a 2-year deal. You got to like that. Middle linebacker, as mentioned earlier, Aaron Henderson, not E.J. Henderson. Again, wow, whatever happened to that guy, right? It's like he no longer exists. He still exists? I don't even know if he still exists. Yeah, you got to like it. The Vikings, we're looking at Darren Carter, Chris Carter's son, character issues coming out of college, lots of character issues, unfortunately, and so he was undrafted. The Vikings looking at him, and the word is he can't catch, or from some people, he just can't catch either, so, well, I don't know. No news about him signing with the Vikings. It's just another one of those deals. We're just going to have to wait and see where that leads, but we did get the quarterback out of Iowa. I've said that about 300 times, so apologize for that. Oh, I'm sorry for that there. Yes, so that quarterback being James Vanderberg, guys, you Iowa guys out there. We signed Randall Bradley recently, out of UNLV. Linebacker Zach Line out of Southern Methodist. Oh, yeah. Cullen Anderson, tight end from Furman. Wide receiver Nicholas Edwards, Eastern Washington. I don't believe he was one of them, but Rodney Smith was another Florida State Seminole. Rodney Smith, 6'6", very tall guy, very tall. Yes, he's tall. Jeff Baca, Travis Bond, those are obviously draft picks. Camden Wentz out of North Carolina State. Woohoo! Sharif Floyd, yeah, right. No, Marquise Jackson out of Portland State, defensive end. Anthony McLeod. Yes, McLeod. Defensive tackle. Oh, my God. Florida State again. Oh, yeah. LaTroy Guyan was out of Florida State. So it's like, yeah, we got a lot of Florida State guys here. Yes, Everett Dawkins, of course. Yep, another defensive tackle. That Mr. Irrelevant in terms of the Vikings, anyway. Their last pick in the NFL draft. Yes, Sir Nathan Williams, a linebacker out of Ohio State. Another undrafted free agent, Brandon Bishop, safety out of North Dakota State. Brandon Bishop. So, that's a more interesting one, according to some people. Mentioned undrafted free agent. In that case, we'll see where it turns out there. Darius Eubanks, another safety, Georgia Southern. Well, there we go. You gotta like that, and yeah, that's it. Those are the undrafted free agents that are now members of the Minnesota Vikings for the time being. We'll see what happens. There are 5 quarterbacks on, on the Vikings roster at this current time, though the talk is Joe Webb will be moved to wide receiver, potentially. Yeah, he's got the quickness, but is he a wide receiver? I don't know. I don't think he's a quarterback, so he may have trouble staying in the NFL, or at least on the Minnesota Vikings. I gotta believe in Joe Webb's case. McLeod Bethel Thompson, the word is he's looking really good. They really, really are high on McLeod Bethel Thompson. They really like him. And Sacramento State, of course, close to where Dylan Richardson, who has been a co-host on this show on multiple occasions and will be on again, I gotta think, leading into the season preview for almost for sure. Sebastian Balls will probably be on a season preview type of show in July, maybe like a training camp type show. We've been talking about that. That'll be cool. Sebastian Balls, we didn't even hear from him lately. Wow. Wow. Huh. That's the first time his name was mentioned in this show. Sebastian, shout out to you. Must be busy though. It sounds like it. When you look at his Facebook, sounds like he's pretty busy. Where was I going? Yep. He's a big fan of McLeod Bethel Thompson, so I'm sure he's happy hearing that. I got to think McLeod's going to be on the team. I got to think so. Obviously, Matt Castle, the immediate backup, the veteran backup. I'm very happy about that move. Christian Ponder, the starter, I suppose, right? James Vanderberg. Well, is he going to be that 4th quarterback? Maybe. I mean, McLeod Bethel Thompson was the 3rd guy last year. I don't know. Some guys aren't going to make it. I don't know. I mean, Webb, I got to think, is gone. And it might be McLeod and Vanderberg going at it. A lot of people don't seem to like old Vandy out of Iowa. A lot of Iowa fans not happy with him. They think he sucks. And that they want linebackers. And they wanted those linebackers instead. So, we'll see. Who knows? Anything can happen. I mean, some guys, they get signed to undrafted stuff, and it's like, whatever. Like Billy Cockerham, former Gopher, guys like that. It's like, Billy Cockerham was on the Vikings for a very short time, believe it or not. I don't even remember if he was on the Vikings to be a quarterback. It might have been like a punter or something. It was weird because I think he could punt. It was something weird like that. Billy Cockerham. Yeah, I think he was like a multi-position type of guy, like Antoine Randall, just much, much worse than Antoine Randall. But usually those combo guys like Joe Webb aren't really all too successful ultimately in the NFL. Like when they're a wide receiver, they're like the 4th or 5th best guy on the team. When they're quarterback, they're like the last guy you'd want throwing the ball. That would be considered a quarterback. They'd be your last choice. So it's just like, well, we're happy for you. Great. You're good at multiple positions, but you suck at all of them. Yay, Yeah, you're talented, but you aren't good at anything in particular. You're just a good athlete. Woohoo. Sounds like Michael Vick. Oh, okay, I didn't say that. No, I'm not a Michael Vick fan. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles landing, as we're getting near the end of the show here. Other notables, they wound up with Matt Barkley. The Philadelphia Eagles, Matt Barkley finally was taken. Oh, man, it took way too long for Matt Barkley. Geno Smith was taken early in the 2nd round, as he wound up with the Jets. We're happy for him, right? And also, Manny Te'o going to a place where it's a great fit for him. It really is a great fit for Manny Te'o. It really, there it is. That's the guy right there. Manny Te'o going to the San Diego Chargers to help, hopefully, in his case, replace Junior Seau. Hopefully. It's a good environment for him. It's not a big city that'll drive him crazy like the New York Jets. So we'll just see what happens with that. As Matt Barkley having to wait until day 3 to get drafted. He was the first pick in the 4th round, 98th overall, but he goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, and there you go. It's an opportunity for him to be the quarterback of the future there, hopefully. But 4th round, man, that's a long wait for Matt Barkley. Geno Smith is mentioned to the Jets. That's going to be very interesting, filled with controversy, I'm sure. That place is crazy. Tim Tebow has been released. And as mentioned earlier, old Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, to early in the third round, seventh pick in the third round to the Arizona Cardinals. Can't imagine that's going to be a tough place, but then again, who knows? I mean, Arizona's kind of funky. We'll see what happens with that. It's going to be fun to watch some of these guys, how they produce in this league. These guys that slipped. So there you go. With that, really, I can't think of anything else I need to say about the draft. I think I've exhausted everything I need to say. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to the show. Remember to call into the phone lines, 209-736-7877. Maybe give your thoughts about the draft, but there's also other ways, facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. Simply go there and click like and then comment and all that good stuff. Tweet me and follow me on Twitter at Purple Mafia Show. And there is a TSS Boards that I probably should have mentioned earlier on Facebook. TSS Boards. Look up TSS Boards and join that group. There's a group called TSS Boards. That's for the sportstuff.com, of course, which is where Purple Mafia is. That's the flagship website for Purple Mafia. That's where this show comes from originally, of course, and on iTunes. But yeah, yeah, go there, look up TSS Boards, post anything you want about sports. Post about the Vikings, post about anything you can learn about the other shows, like the crossover. Man, I miss Farzine's the Chiefs Zone, unfortunately. Maybe someday that'll be back. Apparently we have a new Milwaukee Brewers show coming in. Gotta like that as well. Looking forward to that. That will be fun. With that, though, again, gotta mention, not sure when the next Turbo Mafia show will be, but do count on it happening, of course. Hopefully in May, maybe June. We'll see what happens. We'll probably talk some news. The Minnesota Vikings stadium situation, I don't know. I mean, obviously the deal's done and all that good stuff. I thought they were going to have a groundbreaking ceremony in like April or May. Apparently they're not having it until October. All kinds of weird issues going on with who's actually paying for it. I got to dig up more information about that one. Read up more about it. You can get on here and talk about it. But this was all a draft show. I didn't want to get into any stadium stuff. It's just another overcomplicated things in an overcomplicated world. Yeah. You got to love this place, don't you? All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. Hope I didn't ramble too much. Hope you enjoyed my Cordero. Apparently Rick Spielman couldn't say it right the whole freaking time. Shame on him. Cordero Patterson. Rave, not rant, rave. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Tangent, whatever it is. Sharif Floyd, all that good stuff. Really looking forward to the future of this team. Oh, and by the way, Cordero Patterson, if you didn't know this already, obviously I'm sure you knew it long ago, will don the number 84, and he idolized Randy Moss growing up. Rock and roll. Hopefully it all works out for the best there. So again, thanks for listening. We'll be back hopefully in May, maybe June. Update the draft situation, draft pick signings, and other Viking nuggets will come out, I'm sure. And rock and roll. So with that, we'll be back hopefully sooner rather than later. Thanks again, everybody.